Hello, happy Saturn Day, you guys. It is November the 9th of 2024, and this is High Priestess Jamila. I wanted to come and speak to you guys real quick about stalkers. Just anybody that's stalking you, okay? Whether or not it's a romantic interest or, just somebody that is obsessed or maybe an op or something like that is sent by, I guess, controlled opposition or whatever they call it. I want to talk about the lie that ignoring a stalker is the best thing to do. Okay. Sort of pretending that they're not there. Yeah. I think that sentiment was actually made up by stalkers. Because honestly, especially if you have an internet stalker, they are stalking you with probably some kind of purpose that involves possibly either clout. It's not that I don't want to say clout, codependency. Okay. And so that can be very different, but that can always turn into something else. And however, if you have the proper protection, you do not need to fear and live your life in fear, or even stress yourself out about it. So many people mess themselves up by letting their imagination get to them. People always think the worst that can happen. And so I've been talking to you guys about your visualization and how it is so god dang important to utilize that, because what you see sometimes is what you get. So this is the reason why you guys come to people like me, because what I do is I will see for you and then even bind that intention so that you don't have to worry about it. Okay. However, I think that men mainly made that up, male stalkers, because what I've noticed is that when a male is exploiting a female, they want you to be silent. They don't want to hear from you. You sort of fade to the back while they use your name, or, you know what I mean? So, and typically these stalkers will be trying to control how people see you. They'll be trying to control certain aspects of your life, from either behind a computer or just within the community, trying to, do some kind of dictatorship or just to be manipulative. So there's a lot of people that will say, just ignore the stalker and they'll go away. Bullshit. In fact, especially if you are someone like me who works in the public, which there are a lot of people that work in the public. There are politicians. There are community activists. There are, members of certain organizations. They can't help but to be in the church, I was about to say church. They can't help in church too, because I don't think all churches are bad. But they may be active members of some kind of community, and stalkers do tend to be somewhat of a nuisance. Okay. In fact, over here in Georgia, and I was seeing some videos of some pretty scary things, bomb threats at voting locations and stuff. Wow. Okay. So I don't know what's going on in Georgia, but I do know that last year there was some laws that were changed surrounding swatting in Georgia because this technique was being used by somebody or some people that oppose the state of Georgia for some reason. And it's just crazy because when I see people getting caught up in political stuff, people are crazy. People get crazy around the elections, okay? So, ignoring a stalker does not work. And sadly, law enforcement is overwhelmed as it is already. And so I think that it's very important to be very, very proactive when you're dealing with them. Now, do I believe that it takes, if you believe in monotheism, you believe in monotheism. Some of us look at it differently. We do. And we work with different gods. And of course, me being stalked, okay, for 10 years straight was actually spiritual and religious abuse, is ultimately because I'm being stalked by the Mecca of stalkers, which is what? Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay. When I tell you Jehovah, anybody that has seen some of the videos about Jehovah Witnesses and the way that they think that they have a right to you, and I don't even believe that. I think it's just something that they made up. I really do. I don't think that they're doing it right. Okay. For me, I am a cosmic witch. I'm a bloodline witch. And I feel like your first line of defense for stalkers is, of course, going to be Santa Muerta, okay? She would be a good resource to go to combat the tactics of the stalkers, especially gang stalkers. So she would be a good person or a deity to work with. Another one that I feel that a lot of people do not talk about a lot would be Hermes. Hermes is actually the god of Mercury, and he would be excellent for that, okay? Any universal god that you may want to work with, especially if you are a witch or you're somebody that has been through that, because trust me, unfortunately, these religious organizations or these religious people, they do use stalking as a tactic for some reason. It's not to say that all people that are religious are mentally ill, but for some people, it does create a mental illness for them. It does. And they can sometimes get very scary, very dangerous, very obsessive. I think that the first thing that people think about when it comes to stalking is that they fear for their lives. And you should never, ever fear for your life. You should always fight for your life and enjoy life and have fun and be happy and trust in the gods that you're dealing with. See, this is the reason why I work with the gods that I deal with, okay? Now, if you're being stalked long term, if somebody won't leave you alone after like a certain amount of time, which I believe should be 3 months. If somebody is stalking you longer than 3 months, you should call to Hades, okay? Hades is a good source, along with other spirits. Now, there are goetic spirits that are absolutely phenomenal. Because, of course, the problem with trying to depend on religion for if you're dealing with a stalker is that religion kind of it's kind of like stalker apologists. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of like religion within itself kind of tolerates stalking as well as violence. And of course, you guys know that every single spirit that I work with, every single God that I work with, is just absolutely amazing. They don't really believe in that unless they are defending somebody that has called to them. They defend the innocent. They don't let the innocent get hurt. And that's what I love about them. Absolutely love about them. So I think that stalkers need to know that you mean business. I think that stalkers need to know that you're not afraid of them. I think that when you show fear to them, and that's what they want you to be fearful. And when you show them that you're not fearful, they will push and push and push until they break. Eventually, they're going to break. Eventually. For whatever reason that they're stalking you for, eventually, and there are a lot of signs, even in the tarot. There are cards that will come up in your tarot readings that will let you know when the stalker is getting ready to concede. Also, another thing, we started working with Hades right around the right time. So Hades does take a specific amount of time to work that situation out. A lot of people are like, oh my God, why Hades? Why Hades? Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you who primarily fears Hades, and that to me is the bad guys, because, honestly, when you look throughout history, there have been so many women and their children that have been unalived, which is why so many people turned away from religion, because the violence against women got too great. Okay? It got to be way too much. And y'all have to remember, this happened over 10 years ago when there was the awakening. Okay? And that's the main actual reason why. However, there's a lot of people that got lost in the sauce. And when you are dealing with witchcraft and what I deal in, you know how they say power corrupts? Absolutely. Well, you know what? A lot of those people got corrupt. They got corrupted to the point where they looked at it as a means of vengeance. Maybe they got possessed and they got thrown off track. And see, for me, what I refuse to let happen is anybody to take me off of the path that I'm on. And so that's what a stalker or somebody is trying to do to you. And so, but no, ignoring a stalker does not stop them. They keep going, and sadly, a lot of them will keep going until either you're gone or they gone. And you have to decide which one. Now, while you're making that decision making, what you have to keep in mind is that, again, depending on who you are when it comes to religion, it doesn't matter. If you are a witch, you are a witch by blood, and you are a witch by the cosmos. You can't change being a witch. You can't change how they feel about you, what they have planned for you, what they have planned for your life, just by joining their spiritual or religious organizations. You can't do that, because they still cannot be trusted. So then you have to trust yourself. Okay? And they have really, really been pushing me a lot, even though, here's what's crazy, even though I don't have a lot of views in social media, which I don't need, but I think that what it mainly is because, I'm kind of used to people becoming obsessed with me, even though the stalkers claim there's no reason to be obsessed with me. But obviously they are. Okay? So I feel like it does take patience, but I will tell you that if you're being stalked, do not wait We spoke about this probably like a week ago. And of course, the stalkers are always watching. And I'm going to tell you straight up and down, they're not messing with the gods, and yeah, they are sitting around talking mess. And, if you're kind of psychic, if you can pick up on things, that they have these sick fantasies about taking you out. And you know what? Honestly, there is so many spirits of the earth, powers of the earth that you can unearth to protect yourself. And you don't have to be miserable. You don't have to be sick. You don't have to lose your life. You don't have to go through life being stigmatized, because that's another tactic that they have, okay? And, they always regret. They think they're going to find something new to do or some kind of bright idea. But to be honest with you, they are not more powerful than an actual God. These people are not God. These people are not demons. They may be possessed by their own demons and spirits, but these people are human beings, flesh and blood, and they will never, ever, ever contend with a God. Okay, when it comes to being a living God, in that sense, yeah, we all are. However, when it comes to certain things, that doesn't apply, because being God does not mean that you're going to be a bully. I mean, when you think about it, was God a bully? No, God created all things. He would have no reason to do that. He would have no reason. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that was created by God. And, so are the gods, because I'm a polytheist. So, as far as like the fight or the argument over right and wrong and whose God is better and all of this stuff, that's just silly. However, I will tell you that there is a reason why there are millions of people that worship Santa Martha. There are millions of people that worship Hades and Persephone. There are millions of people that worship Hecate. They just may not be out in the open. Okay? So, and there's a reason why they're not out in the open. Because you get people that become obsessed, and I'm still trying to figure out what the obsession is. Well, actually, I don't need to figure it out. We all know what it is. The obsession with witches. Them trying to get us to give over our power. And then they'll even call themselves vampires. That's really crazy, because, when you see them speak that way, just recently there was a guy over in the UK, and he was speaking that way shortly before he murdered some people. And see, this is the reason why, when you see somebody that is acting crazy like that, you have to take care of business to make sure that that does not happen. And you don't do it and doubt it. You do it and you know that it's done, and that's the end of the story. We do not move in fear and doubt with our work. And that's the one thing about witches. As a witch, no, I am not walking through the through the shadow of the valley of death. No, I'm not. I am walking in life. So, and there's a lot of people that, they're like, oh, well, let me prove it to you. I want to kill you. It's totally ridiculous. And you guys have to understand that you cannot cower down to a stalker. You can't do it. Now, do you have to continue to battle with them for years and years? No, I would not suggest that. Like I was saying previously, it took me almost 10 years to actually call to Hades. And he had been in the shadow, in the background for quite some time, watching the whole situation and watching over us and making sure that we are safe. But the thing of it is that he wants this to be prevented, because a lot of people think that Santa Muerta and Hades are all about this and that, and even sometimes Shiva. People, Shiva's a good god to work with, and I kind of feel like Shiva, what planet would I connect Shiva with? I would just connect Shiva with the universe, period. But, these gods are not evil. They are very, very loving and very, very caring and very, very healing. The people that are attacking are the ones that are evil. And to be honest with you, they are not even really working with even a higher source that we even call God. Those people are very ungodly. They have no connection. What they are working with is spirits at the root chakra. This is the reason why they behave the way that they do. That's their own spirits. Monotheism ultimately is about self. And so is polytheism. But that's one of the reasons why they always say, oh, well, they'll say that they're Jesus Christ, or I'm in Christ consciousness, because technically they are worshiping self. They're appeasing themselves. Because if you notice, that's how a lot of them move. It's not about even what their Bible says. They ignore half of their Bible, and they just kind of do whatever they want. And a lot of the times when you're dealing with what we call Bible spirits, you're not dealing with a biblical spirit. Because those, as a witch, I can tell you that we can banish those through time and through space very easily, very quickly. And there are even spirits that will do that as well. But what they are working with the principle on is ancestors. So that's why you see a lot of them mixing religion with worshiping the ancestors, okay? Now, keep in mind that aspect of it, they need to be careful with it. But sometimes their chaos is what they want. And see, this is the reason why we work with deities like Lilith, because when Lilith shows up, she's going to remove that chaos. And see, Lilith is one of the gods of Saturn, actually, which her presence is very heavy right now. And who needs it? Who needs that, And if you notice, coincidentally, a lot of these people that are very religious, or either they're just stalkers, they typically don't have a job or a business to run. They usually have nothing else better to do with their time. So, it just is what it is. Anyway, it's terrible. We are probably like maybe 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, and these people have no prayer. And we are in Yule time right now. Anybody moving that way is in a lot of trouble. They can front and pretend as though things are all gravy, but it's not. Okay? And it's like I said, I love all people. I have nothing against people that are religious. I have nothing against people at all. But when these people do this, there are ways of defending yourself. And I honestly think that everything happens for a reason. Because when I asked Hades to take the wheel, and I kind of felt bad about not calling him before, he said, well, he saw it from a different perspective. But then another god that I work with, which is Kronos and Loki, they stated that, well, you know what, it's all about timing. Because, everything kind of falls into place the way that it's supposed to. Okay? So, maybe it's because there was certain people that I wouldn't have ran into. Everything typically locks into place like a puzzle. One thing that I will tell you is to make sure that your vision is clear. And if you're not able to do that, then you have to understand that that person has got you under and wrapped around their finger. Regardless, religion is actually, in my humble opinion, it's 60 to 70% mundane, because if you notice, when they are religious, especially if you're a witch and they're trying to oppress you and you're literally just minding your own business, you're not bothering them. They are typically doing things like swatting, filing false reports, driving past your house, which is considered to be a mundane activity. However, the rest of it, I feel, is where they are tapping in to sort of like their own ancestry, which unfortunately what Hades will do is Hades will take their ancestors and put them away. And some people have ancestors going all the way back cosmically that, will get handled and dealt with. If the person does not want to leave you alone and you have said, leave me alone, and you're working with the correct spirits and deities, you are going to survive that, if not flourish it. And you don't have to age 5,000 years. You don't have to get sick, because that's, unfortunately, that is their goal. They want to worry you half to death. They want to do things to you. They want to see you out on your ass. They do. They're very evil people, okay? And so, handle it and live life and love and have joy and peace, okay? All right, guys. So the Yule Circle's open. Make sure that y'all join, okay? And it may be only, it may be the only thing you can do at this point, because our Yule Circle is very complete, and a lot of people so far are really enjoying it, especially the healing prospects of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I just know that I've been having a good time. I know that there was a wave of negativity that came through about 6:30-ish, 6-ish last night, and I kind of felt it, but it quickly pinged off. Whereas normally it'll kind of feel like, and it'll settle. So something, whatever it was, one of my spirits got that stuff off, whatever they were trying to send. So anyway, y'all know who to reach if you guys need some assistance from someone that you can trust. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys later. Love you guys. Blessings. Bye.